Hello, hello. It's Coach Kyra. So good to see you. Thank you for taking some time to come and join me on this beginner's course into what are the things that are necessary in order to transform your body. So I want to take less than 10 minutes of your time today to walk you through the first section of where my clients start when we have these conversations. And I hope this is helpful for you. So let me share my screen and talk about where we're headed. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you just straight up, I'm going to tell you I'm being selfish. My objective is to be the last place you have to go to reach your weight loss goals. Now, I hear from people all the time, Coach Kyra, you're the realest voice on Instagram when it comes to weight loss. I know that's true. One, because I've lived the experience, literally have lived the experience. But then two, I've worked with so many terrible coaches during my journey and across my experience that I have decided that I want to be the coach who I needed when I was going through my process and my journey. So that's why we're here. I want you to find your last stop for all things fat loss, fitness, and health. And I really do hope that this conversation today about the beginner's journey works for you. Here's where we need to start. Fat loss 101. You probably know a lot of this stuff. The differences between weight loss, fat loss, and the importance of all of this on aging. Let's start with the lie. The lie is that anything other than a calorie deficit causes weight loss. For example, the lie is that fasting causes weight loss. The lie is that cutting carbs or cutting fats or going vegan or going paleo or juicing or taking these certain supplements, this fat burner causes fat loss. That is the lie. Appetite suppressants are the lie. The truth is that you will lose weight anytime you are in caloric deprivation. Let me explain in terms that you'll understand. Our ancestors, going way, way back before the Industrial Revolution, endured periods of famine. And during famine, there is no food available in the environment. So, how do we eat? And how do we eat to survive? Our bodies, over the course of the year, store up reserves of energy in our fat cells. And that energy gets catabolized, gets eaten by the body when we do not have access to food in the environment. The problem with that, though, is your body can overeat itself, which is why when we're creating a calorie deficit, we need it to be a controlled calorie deficit, a moderate calorie deficit, and not an extreme calorie deficit. Otherwise, we will ruin your metabolism with something called metabolic adaptation. Okay. So, side note, our ancestors endured periods of famine, and with that, had to lose weight, had to lose body fat in order to keep themselves alive. Now, we want to lose body fat, and the way that we'll lose body fat and nothing else, the way that we'll only catabolize body fat and we won't catabolize muscle mass, we won't catabolize bone density, we won't catabolize brain density, right? We'll only lose fat is through these couple of reasons. One is consuming adequate protein. We'll make sure that you're hitting your protein goal every day. Two, we'll resistance train to prioritize the loss of body fat and not muscle mass. And three, when it comes to your cardio, we'll cut back on some of the high intensity cardio and focus more so on steps, low intensity activity to ensure that your body has enough tools and resources to keep its muscle mass while it burns body fat. Okay. Why is it important for you to keep your muscle mass? That is a non negotiable because you're going to age. And maintaining your muscle mass as you age avoids frailty and allows you independence in old age. There's something called sarcopenia, which is where the body essentially eats its muscle tissue over time. If you're resistance training and consuming enough protein, you are delaying that process of sarcopenia and weakening of the body as you age. Okay. This ensures your quality of life, keeps you alive, and keeps you around for a really long time. And that's what we want. Okay. So that's fat loss versus weight loss. When it comes to fat loss, we're playing three games. Okay. And this is where coaching kind of helps you a little bit. When it comes to fat loss, we're playing three games. The first game we're playing is the anti-hunger game for long-term success. That means in order to endure a calorie deficit, like we said, creating a calorie deficit is not giving ourselves enough food so that our bodies can utilize the fat storage to eat as energy. Okay. But when we're not consuming enough food, inevitably we might start to feel hungry. The first game that we're playing in our calorie deficit is the anti-hunger game. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The second game that we're playing is the adherence game for long-term success. Okay. When it comes to your plan, it has to be a plan that works for you. It can't be the plan that Coach Kyra followed. It can't be the plan that David Goggins followed, right? The plan that you follow has to be a plan that works for you, your life schedule, your family schedule, your work schedule. The plan has to work uniquely for you. And that's what a coach and a consultant helps you determine. Then finally, we were playing the enjoyment game. Okay. The enjoyment game for long-term success being that we have to do something that's sustainable enough and enjoyable enough for you to stick with it for long enough to see the result. Part of the human issue is that we think that we should see rapid, radical results in 21 days, that it took me 4 years to gain 102 pounds, but I need to lose all 102 in 21 days. It's a lie, it's a myth. Okay. We need to find a way to enjoy the process because you're going to be in the process for quite some time as you work toward this goal. Okay. Our objective is to reach autopilot with this so that we don't have to waste time trying, striving, struggling, or being uncomfortable to reach the goal. And that's what these three games, these three universal principles are helping us do. As you're operationalizing these three universal principles, making it something that controls for hunger, making it something that you can adhere to, and making it something that you enjoy along the way, here is the Sexy Six blueprint for fat loss. All right. Here's the blueprint. Step one, protein priority. You need 2 palm-sized servings of protein at every meal. Your protein shake can count as 1 palm-sized serving of protein. Step two, no whites. No white sugar, white rice, white pasta, cookies, cakes, chips, fries, or fried foods. And that has an asterisk because I'll cover that in a minute. Number three, no liquid calories. No Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks soda juice, or alcohol. Number four, low fat. No nut butters, cheese, milk, butter, or avocado. And we want to monitor and measure cooking oils, nuts, and seeds. Number five, all you can eat vegetables, unlimited veggies of every kind. Try cauliflower rice. It's definitely filling, tastes delicious when you flavor it the way you want it to. And then finally is an eating window. And that eating window needs to end 3 hours before bed. Okay, so let me explain the why behind each of these. 2 palms of protein per meal. Most people are under consuming protein, which is causing complications in your fat loss journey. 2 palms of protein per meal starts to visualize what about an 8-ounce serving of protein looks like, just depending on the size of your palm. And that 8-ounce serving of protein being something like 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, which will get you very close to the basal minimum amount of protein that you need per day to maintain your health. Okay. No whites, no white sugar, white rice, white pasta, cookies, cakes, chips, fries, or fried foods because those are so high in calories, devoid of nutrient, devoid of fiber, and easy to overconsume. This has an asterisk. I'll explain why once we get to the end. No liquid calories, Dunkin', Starbucks, soda juice, or alcohol, because when you think about going to Starbucks and getting a venti iced caramel frappuccino, right, you can easily drink 600 calories in 15 minutes. Drink, not eat, drink. Okay. And all of it is sugar and fat. Low fat, because fats are 9 calories per gram compared to protein and carbohydrates, which are only 4 calories per gram. Fats are very expensive in terms of calories. So we're not going to demonize them because we need them for our hormonal health. However, we do need to control them. And cutting back on nut butters, cheese, milk, butter, and avocado starts to create some level of control around our fat environment so that we can monitor and measure our nuts and seeds as best we can. 5, all you can eat veggies. You can have unlimited vegetables of every kind. And then 6, an eating window, consume all of your nutrients within an 8-hour window that ends 3 hours before bed. This is really to ensure that you can get enough sleep. Sleep is where this happens. Okay. If I could reorder this list and make sleep priority number one, it would be because sleep is where the body recovers from your training for the day. Sleep is where the body releases body fat. Sleep is where your body releases stored glycogen and water. Sleep is essential, resets cortisol, resets leptin and ghrelin and insulin sensitivity. You must go to bed and you need to get 8 hours. And cutting off your eating window 3 hours before bed ensures that your food has enough time to digest so that your internal body temperature can drop by 2 or 3 degrees so melatonin can be released and you can get into that deep sleep every night. Now, this asterisk next to whites says secret sexy 7. Okay. The asterisk says that you can get 2 treat meal passes per week. Okay. And we'll talk about treat meals in just a second. This did not say treat day. This said treat meal, 2 treat meals per week. And we'll talk about what those are and where to place them in just a moment. One of the things that we've talked about up until this point is the beginner's pyramid and how we're trying to build up these things that we just took from the Sexy Six. We're trying to build this up into a stackable behavior system or a stackable way of life for you so that you can not only reach your results, but keep your results. Okay. We circle these behaviors with coaching, being direction, getting clarity on exactly what you need to do and exactly how to get there. Integration, getting clarity and consulting on how your direction and your plan can uniquely fit into your life. Feedback, working with another human to sort through problems, to find opportunity areas, and to let us know when something's working or something's not. Assessment, every week, taking your progress photos, taking your waist circumference, taking your weight to determine if the direction that we have is pointing us in the right direction. Okay. And then accountability says if we are not headed in the right direction, there are 2 people to blame. There's me, and then there's you. And in our conversations and our coaching relationship, we'll make sure that we have as much tools, resources, and strategy as we possibly can to make success on your journey. However, you are with yourself 6 other days of the week. And so we need to ensure that the integration allows you to have success over time so that when it's time to be accountable, when it's time to assess and own up to what's happened, that you can be accountable to it in a positive way. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the beginner's plate and hand portions. Okay. When you think about your plate as a beginner and you're trying to institute the Sexy Six, eating enough vegetables, eating enough protein, what does this need to look like? Okay. Broadly, you need to have about half of your plate being produce. Okay. Namely, green vegetables is our priority here. Then we want to have a quarter or a half of your plate dedicated to whole food carbohydrates, whole starches, and then maybe a quarter or third of your plate dedicated to protein. Okay, and let's give some visuals to what that looks like. All of these plates are rated A in terms of quality based on the Sexy Six, based on the beginner's pyramid, and the things that we're trying to build. These are A plates because they have single ingredient components that are easily trackable, easy to determine their calories, easy to determine their nutrient density, and follow our half, quarter, quarter, or half, third, third fractions for how we want to be eating. We then move into our B, C, and D plates. B through D meals have ingredients that are harder to track. They're a bit higher in fat, a bit higher in high fat proteins as well. And they start to eliminate the color, as you can see. They start to eliminate the fiber from the veggies and the fruit and the whole starches. And if I were to ask you, well, how many calories are in these dishes? It starts to get really hard to answer. Right. I'm not too sure. We look at this chicken quesadilla, and it's like, I know that I have some chicken in here, not sure how much. Now there's cheese, maybe refried beans, maybe some peppers as well. And then this tortilla, I'm not sure what they cooked the tortilla on, and I'm probably going to dip it in these things in the background. So it's really important to ensure that we stick with as best we can something like the A through B meals to make it easier for us to be accountable to their caloric content, since calories are the only way that we'll be able to lose weight. And then finally, we have F meals. Listen, if I take a look at your food log when we have our meeting every week and I see more than 2 instances of this, I have to question, right, our commitment to this goal that we're building together. Okay. F meals say these are my treat meals. This is something I can do once or twice per week. But in general, I'm going to avoid fried food, fast food, high calorie sauces, dips, and dressings, cheese, and alcohol because these are too dense in nutrients. They have way too many calories, right? And they don't have any of the micronutrients or any of the fiber that I need for my overall health. This stuff is literally carbohydrates and fat. They're probably lacking in high quality protein, definitely lacking in micronutrient. And if I think that I'm going to go have a cheeseburger and some French fries and that's going to satisfy me, satisfy my hunger, I have another thing coming. Because after I eat this, here I am 45 minutes later wondering why I'm hungry again because there's no fiber and no nutrition inside of this stuff. Okay. This is the beginner's pyramid, the hand portions, and the formula to success, your blueprint to start this journey and make it what you need it to be long term. Okay. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, meet me down in the comments, send me a message. Let's start a conversation about it. But I hope that this provided some clarity. I hope that this provided some visual assistance as well. And if you need anything else, you know exactly where to find me. I'll talk to you soon.